Welcome back to Layin the Body podcast. I'm Terrence.
And I'm Lucas.
And we're the place to be for head rushing shots of hockey. Hallelujah. 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 Barzell is signed again to the New York Islanders.
It's about time. Good day for Isles fans.
I know, it's amazing. Like, Matt Barzell's a big part of that team, and we're going to get into it more a little bit later in the podcast, but everything is doing very well with the Islanders organization. Matt Barzell signed. I'm excited.
I'm excited too, but we're going to get into that one later.
We're going to get into that one later, but again, thank you for tuning in. We hope you like it this episode. We hope you like the last episode. We're going to keep doing our own thing right now. We hope that you tune in and give us support, and we hope that we can make this podcast the best and more likable for you.
And to start this episode of Layin the Body podcast off, we're going to jump right into the World Juniors. Terrence, first game, Canada and Russia. Big win for Canada, 5-0.
Yeah, Canada in the semis just crushed the Russian attack as the Russians got the nice skill, while the Canadians just have an overall I don't remember the exact number, but isn't it something over it's over 10 first-round picks on their team.
It's actually 19.
19.
That's a crazy number
that I thought that was in my head.
No, it's a crazy number, and again, stacked Canadian roster, and like your prediction was, you said Canada was going to blow them out. I thought it was going to be a closer game, and sure enough, you were right.
I was right.
Big 5-0 win.
Blew them out. We're just going to quickly go over the goals here because we want to do our predictions for all the teams in this podcast, so we want to quickly go over, and this is pretty much old news at this point, but we talked about it in the last podcast, and we just want to tie up some loose ends. So in the first period, just a minute in, Alex Newhook scores and then gets his third. He wasn't playing in the last game against
Yep, he did not.
In the quarterfinals against the but he didn't play in the quarterfinals. So then you got Schneider and Quinn with the assists on the Newhook goal.
And then a few minutes later, about halfway through the first period, you had Connor McMichael with his fourth of the period. And Terrence, a guy that you really like a lot, assisted by Pelletier and Dylan Cousins.
Dylan Cousins still going off.
Been hot as
just
ever.
In the whole tournament, he's been amazing, and
for sure,
it's amazing what this kid has been doing. Cole Perfetti, power play goal, 15:05 into the first. 3 goals in the first. This is from Bowen Byram, another kid that I really like, and Dylan Cousins. We already been through all these guys, so we're not really going to go through them. But you could see how lethal this Canadian attack is and this Canadian team is.
Yeah, it was really tough for Russia to hold the Canadian attack back, and it showed as we get into the second period. 4:09 into that second period, Schneider with his first of the tournament, assisted by Suzuki and Mercer. It's stranglehold at this point, 4-0.
Yeah, and then Cousins just scored the empty goal, just padding the stats for him. And it's just a dominant victory by the Canadians. And I called it. They're just a stacked team. And
yeah, like you said, on to the gold medal game for Canada. And on to our next game. It's the United States and Finland. And Terrence, United States pull it out 4-3. Scary ending, like you said. They almost shot themselves in the foot with those 2 delay of game penalties.
That's what I said. What did I call? I called saying that if the Americans don't shoot themselves in the foot, if they stop making mistakes for themselves, then they would come out with a swiftful victory, which at first they were coming out. But like I said, Finland's very feisty. They're a very feisty team.
As they showed before against Sweden, for sure.
And if they're down, they can come back in a heartbeat. And Finland's just a really good team. And to be honest, America was doing good, USA was doing good in this game, but during the end, we knew who deserved to win that game, and that was Finland.
Yeah, again, U.S. fan first, but Finland deserved the game, unfortunate end for them, but they came back and almost forced overtime. But again, to start off this game, Turcotte been showing up the entire tournament. He gets his second at 12:39 into the first period, assisted by Kaliev and Faber.
Turcotte's been very, very good. I know, he's going to be a great prospect for the Kings down the middle. Perfect with Quinn Byfield on the Canadian side. 14:06, Finland scored power play goal. We got Kaivel Simontailov. Is it Simon Taivel?
Yep.
Simon Taivel. There it is. From Kai Putot and Vinny Heinola. Then in the second period, 15:53 in, John Farinacci again, getting his fifth. you called him to be a big X factor for the
And
rest of the tournament.
And for sure he was. And the U.S. at this point, 2-1, really putting it to the Finnish team. And even more so when at 17 minutes into the second period, power play goal from Matthew Boldy, assisted by
Zegras,
biggest guy of the tournament, and Cole Caulfield. So at this point, 3-1 United States, looking like they just have to come out with a strong third period to close it out. But, I mean, Terrence.
Yeah, and then the third period, Simon Tyval again with his second of the game, scores from Putio and Hinelas. And this is coming a little bit scary.
Yeah, you can feel the tide
there's
turning.
8 minutes left, and then with 4 minutes left, Ronnie Hirvonen scores from Anton Lundell, the captain, and Vinny Heinala. And those guys are just like they just came right back. And I thought it was gonna be overtime, and it was gonna be a lot of trouble for the Americans.
Yeah, watching that game live, it was definitely a very gritty goal. Net front presence, a lucky bounce, and then he roofed it over Spencer Knight. But like you had said, a very tough penalty to take at that point in the game with the delay of game penalty. They were very careless in their own end. And for the United States, as you see here with Kaliev scoring at 18:44, very lucky to get out of the game with a win and heading to the gold medal game to face Canada.
But then with 2 minutes left, Arthur Kaliev scores to the game-winning goal, and that was a shot. That was a shot and a half.
Beautiful snipe
from Turcotte and Sanderson. Just that was a snipe by Kaliev, and that just went right under the bar, saved the U.S. dreams, and they come out with a win.
And now on to the next game, bronze medal game. It's Finland versus Russia. Finland comes out with a 4-1 victory and takes home the bronze medal.
Yeah, it was not a close game. Finland destroyed the Russians. The Russians just played bad the whole game. They started off with an early first period goal, 6 minutes in, Safonov from Groshev, and it was all Finland after that. Second period, 5 minutes in, Anton Lundell with his seventh. Just a great player for Florida, and he's just gonna be great in the NHL. Had a great tournament, perfect, and I was assisted by Niemela and Mantkivi. Then that was the only goal in the second. It was 1-1 going into the third, and then you would think that this is a close game because it's a close game, but it was Finland just controlling the game. Russians played bad. They were very sloppy, and Finland's feistiness came out in the end with three third period goals. With 1 minute in, Petman scoring his first of the tournament from Viro and Hinelas, and they just took a stranglehold from there. And then it was just a solid play. 2 empty net goals by Lundell to ice the game at the end.
Yeah, he finishes the tournament off with a hat trick. Strong way to finish it off for Finland. And again, tough way to end it for Russia, playing two poor games from 5-0 to Canada, and now losing 4-1 in the bronze medal game to Finland. But for Finland, a lot of good bright future for them. And for Russia, they got to go back and retool, but should be interesting. And on to the final game of the tournament, United States versus Canada. Big rematch of the gold medal game, as it seems to be every year. These two face off in the final of the World Juniors. But this time it was the United States getting the upper hand of Canada with a 2-0 victory.
Great to see as USA fans. And it was just, the Canadians did not play bad, I don't think, in this game. It's just USA. They did not have it for USA speed. And
Spencer Knight stole the show.
Spencer Knight did steal the show. He was great in the third period, great throughout the whole game, and he needs to get all the credit in the world. What a player, what a game. Now, Trevor Zegras made some comments at the beginning of the game saying that Devon Levi, the goalie of Canada, hasn't met a real team yet, and they're going to get a couple of goals on him.
And guess what?
They scored a couple goals. He got an assist and a goal on the 2 goals that the United States scored and made up for his words. He said that he was gonna carry his team and score some goals on Levi.
And guess what? He sure did. And in the end, he won MVP.
He did win
MVP of the tournament. And guess what? Players that hold to their words like that, it shows a lot. You got balls coming out in the gold medal game to say that, and then he held to it.
First period, 13 minutes in, Alex Turcotte from Hellison and Zegras, just like beautiful tipping goal by Turcotte He's just shoveled it in between his legs past Levi, and it was a 1-0 lead pretty early.
And the United States, again, tight contested game for most of the first period, but then beginning of the second period, only 32 seconds in, Zegers getting his 7th goal of the tournament, assisted by Kaliev to make it 2-0 the United States. And at this point, the United States are buckling down, holding Canada, and like I said, Spencer Knight really stealing the show in the defensive half for the United States.
Yes, in the third period, no goals allowed, no goals scored, just an overall a big attack for the Canadians as they're trying to get something going, but Knight just slammed the door shut. And after that, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. USA wins the World Junior Hockey Championship, and it's just what a team that was to beat the Canadians.
Yeah.
It would have been a great feeling. It must be a great feeling.
Oh, for sure. But again, big difference from when they played the Finland team to now how they played the Canadian team. More disciplined game than when they played against Finland. But no matter the outcome, the United States take home the gold, Canada the silver, and Finland the bronze.
Yes, and the trash can also won.
I saw that in the picture.
A trash can won.
With the Canadian flag
yeah,
on.
What do you think about that?
It's interesting with the Canadian flag on the trash can for the winning picture with the United States.
It's a good rivalry.
It's a good rivalry. Definitely going to spark it for next time. I know Canadian fans were not too happy as I took to Twitter and Instagram to see all about that. But, it's all part of the rivalry.
It's
I'm
all
sure
part of the
it'll come
rivalry.
back.
It will make the rivalry heat up. It's all fun and games. But the American coach after that said that that something on the lines of we didn't know that they were a part of that
they were gonna do that. Yeah. But guess what, players, when you're champions of the World Juniors and you're champions of the world, I mean, you can kind of do that. So it is what it is. But like I said, United States take home the gold. Disappointing end for the Canadian team and fan base, but only gonna heat up the rivalry.
At the end of it, USA wins gold. Canada wins silver, Finland wins bronze, and that's going to be our recap of the World Junior Hockey Championship. Now what we're doing is we're going to be going over our predictions for the NHL season. It's coming up in less than a week. It starts Wednesday. I can't wait.
Yeah, the new divisions, it brings a whole new thing, a whole new level to the table of the NHL. Again, brand new divisions, so 56-game season. You're only playing teams in your division, so rivalries are going to be renewed. Rivalries are going to get heated up. So I'm going to get into it. Terrence, want to start with the North?
Yeah, we'll start with the North. Let's do it.
Sounds good. So the brand new division for this year, it's the All-Canadian division. So I'm going to go there's 7 teams in this division. I'm going to start with my last place team and head up to my first place team. So in last place in the North, I got to give it to Ottawa. I think everyone can kind of agree with this one. Even though they're going to get big pieces and new pieces, it's just not going to work out for them. 6th place, I'm going to give it to the Jets. I don't see them fulfilling what they've been able to do, recent struggles in past years and last year. 5th place, I'll give to Calgary. I just don't think that they're going to be able to do what they've been doing the past couple years. I think this year's a fall-off year for them. 4th place, I'm going to give to Montreal. I think that after last year, they get bigger pieces, more pieces, and they grew it together as a team. They're going to make the playoffs. 3rd place, going to give it to Edmonton. Again, Connor McDavid, kind of tough not to root against him, and Edmonton defensively has gotten so much better. It's hard to root against them. I think that they'll be a top team in the league this year. 2nd place, after a great last year, got to give it to Vancouver. Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser, Hughes, they're all great, and then now they add some stuff on the back end. I like them this year. And finally, it's going to leave Toronto in first place. Toronto is getting a lot of back-end help, and I think this year is the year that they really gel it together, and their defense gives them a winning year. Terrence, what are your predictions for this?
I got it very different from you. You see, I made some controversial moves, and I feel like some things are going to... this is probably going to be really wrong or really right. Now, last place, we're alike. I got Ottawa. Ottawa's just... we won't talk about that.
Not great.
They do got a good future. Tim Stützle rocked it out in World Juniors this year. They have Brady Tkachuk. They have a couple other.
I think it's going to be like three years for them.
Yeah,
then they'll be a contender.
I feel like it's going to be good for them. 6th, although of the nice moves that they made, I went with Montreal. I said Montreal is going to be... I mean, it depends what Carey Price you're getting. Are you getting the Carey Price that was in the playoffs, or are you getting the Carey Price that was throughout the season not that good? Or are you getting the team that is injured all the time? See, I'm not sure if I could really trust Montreal. 5th place, just out of it, I got Vancouver. The loss of Markstrom, I feel like, is huge. Holtby has been absolutely awful in net for the past few years, and I feel like he is just not going to put it up. Even though they did add Nate Schmidt on the back end. Nate Schmidt on the back end is very good. They do got that lethal offense. They're a big wild card for me in this. 4th, I got Edmonton. I feel like Edmonton is just solid. They don't have that good defense, but their offense and their Koskinen will sneak them into the playoffs a little bit. 3rd, I got Calgary. Again, just like I said, the subtraction of Markstrom, the addition of Markstrom in Calgary will be huge. They've never had a goalie ever. And they're in such a long time, they haven't had a solid goalie. And I feel like they're going to come back pretty strong. 2nd, this is a controversial one. I got Winnipeg. Winnipeg has the Vezina winning goaltender in Connor Hellebuck. They got a decent back end, and they got a great offense with Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler. If they end up working things out with Patrick Laine, but even without Patrick Laine, they got a good offense. I feel like they're going to end up bringing some things around, as they just had a lot of injuries in the bubble. And then my top team is Toronto, that stacked offense. They're just always a good team, great goaltending, not that good defense. This is a very interesting division. I'd like to see what you do. What do you think about my prediction, Lucas?
I like your predictions. I thought about the Markstrom leaving from Vancouver and going to Calgary. I think it's going to be tough for the Jets, personally. I just don't see their back end being great, and I don't see Hellebuck being... He'll be good.
Prospect in Sami Niku, who's been...
They have good prospects, but I think this is, like I said, a fall-off year for them, and then they'll draft well, and I think they're going to make a few trades. I personally think Laine's out. I think Laine's actually going to start the season with the Jets and then get traded at the deadline. That's my full prediction for the Jets, and then they're going to end up drafting heavy, and then in the following next year, 2 years, they'll start to pull it back.
I can definitely see that happen. I just see this team, and I see this core that they got. I see a Vezina goalie at the back, and I see a stacked offense in the front. If you look at Toronto, that's all you need to really do good. So I'm saying, I think it's
in the regular season. But now with the new playoff format and only the top 4 in your division making it, and then it's the division rivals play 1-4, 2-3, and only one making out of the division, I just don't see Winnipeg, even if they were to surprise me and make it, I don't see them going very far this year.
Yeah, same. I mean, I didn't say that they were going to go far. I say that this is the regular season prediction. I feel like, again, Toronto, they're not really... They haven't been the best playoff team.
I think they could shock us, but I agree with what you're saying.
And I see that Winnipeg, I see very similar Winnipeg-Toronto comparison. But
interesting picks, though.
Very interesting picks. I like your picks, too. I feel like Montreal, I kind of lowballed a little bit. I think Montreal could be a lot better. They could surprise me.
They're a wild card team. I agree with that. I think they're going to do well, but...
They could surprise me. Vancouver can surprise me if Holtby can come back to regular Holtby.
We'll see. New team, new surrounding, new players. I think could be good for him.
I think Vancouver and Edmonton can swap. I'm not sure. If
there's a lot of surprise teams in that division. I think outside of Ottawa, any team in that division can actually have a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we will be moving on to our Western Division predictions. Terrence, would you like to go first?
How about you go first? I like to be second. Let's do that.
That sounds good to me. So I gotta say it. Last place. So this is actually an 18th division, so a little more competition, a little bit of a bigger rivalries in here. So I'm gonna give it to the Ducks. I love their prospect. I love what they're doing, but you got too many old guys on that team. I think it's gonna be a couple years until they start to push things along. 7th place, Minnesota Wild. Minnesota's been a disaster for years now, making the playoffs occasionally, like their last year in the qualifiers, and then just falling apart. I think they have a good back end. guys like Dumba, Spurgeon, but I just don't see it being...
New captain of the Wild.
Yeah, I love that. I really do think that they have a good back end, but I don't think they have the offense to push it. So I'm going to give them 7. 6, I think that they're going to be much improved, but I'm going to give it to the Kings. I think if Jonathan Quick can be Jonathan Quick, maybe they move up to 5th. I don't see them making the push for the playoffs, though, in the top 4. With that being said, at number 5, I got to say, this is a tough one. I'm going to give it to Arizona. I really love Arizona as a team. I love the players on there. I love the prospects. I think they could be a surprise team, but I'm going to give them 5th. 4th place, San Jose. I think San Jose is a good bet there. I think San Jose turns everything around this year. New captain, Logan Couture. I would say like the older guys kind of moved out. Obviously, Joe Pavelski wasn't there last year, but now Joe Thornton's not there. He's in Toronto. I think San Jose turns around this year. I think Brent Burns, Erik Karlsson going to have Norris-type years. 3rd place in that division. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I'm going to say St. Louis. St. Louis hasn't really gotten better. They haven't really gotten worse. They did add Torrey Krug on the back end. They did sign Mike Hoffman to a professional tryout. So they will do better, but I just don't see them cracking the top 2 with the other 2 teams, which leaves Colorado and Vegas. I'm giving Vegas 2nd place. Vegas, great team. Colorado, great team, but I see Colorado edging them out there. I think Colorado has no flaws in their system. Again, adding Devon Tays, insane back end with Kel McCarr. It's tough to not say that Colorado, I think, is the favorite this year to win the Cup.
One of the favorites, indeed. Now, my prediction is very similar to yours, to be honest with you. In the bottom, I have the Minnesota Wild. I think Minnesota is going to have a stinker. It's like, they got Cam Talbot as a goalie. Their back end is old. I do like Jared Spurgeon. I do like Matt Dumba.
I mean, can you name anybody on the offense right now?
If Kirill Kaprizov comes in and becomes a stud of a player, like future, he's supposed to do.
But one guy can't run the offense.
I know, but I know that he's really good. They got Matt Zuccarello in there. They got a couple
They're
others.
Good future, just like the Ducks, but interesting this year.
But yeah, it's very interesting this year. They got Jordan Greenway, Joel Eriksson Ek. They got
young talent.
They do got Luke Kunin. They got a couple young talent, but again, I don't think that's going to suffice for anything. 7th, I got Kings. I think the Kings are just too old. Quick is not who he used to be. Just that back. Drew Doughty's not who he used to be. Drew Doughty's just not good. And they do got some decent pieces. Like there's the Byfield that they just got. They got Alex Turcotte, who's pretty good, who's very good. I like him. But like Kopitar's falling off. Dustin Brown is just a waste of cap. Like, that team's just shambles. And then once they get rid of their players that they're paying a lot of money, then you could talk to me about a good rebuild. I got Ducks next. I think just alone John Gibson can carry them. I think Gibson is just a Vezina caliber goalie if he's on a good team. And he still is a Vezina caliber goalie on the Ducks. I do like what they're doing. They, again, like you just said, they're a little bit old. Ryan Getzlaff's still the captain there. They're saying like trade rumors with him. And I'm not sure what's going to happen. I feel like the defense is decent with Cam Fowler, Hampus Lindholm. But I mean, like, they're not what they used to be. And that's why they're going down. And then the next 3, I got exactly what you have. I go Arizona, San Jose, St. Louis.
So you see the breakout years in Arizona and San Jose as well.
I see Arizona very surprised me in the playoffs. I really liked them. I was struggling between San Jose and Arizona like you were.
In the flop, yeah.
Yeah, in the flop. Any of those teams to make it, I just edged out San Jose because I feel like they're going to have a breakout year. They just got Devin Dubnyk from the Wild, so some stable goaltending finally, hopefully, for the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah, and they've got that good back end.
And then they got the good back end. They got a decent offense with Timo Meier, with Logan Couture.
Gaudreau, the rest of them.
But it's like, I feel like San Jose, even though Arizona has a good tandem there, I do like the good tandems with Kemper and Ranta. They're a good tandem, putting up great seasons last year, even though Kemper got hurt. They got a good backhand, OEL, very good very good captain now for the Arizona Coyotes.
He got paid, rightfully
And
so.
then they did lose Taylor Hall, but they still have Phil Kessel. They still got a couple. They got Kessel. They got Keller. They got a couple of very good players, and they're a good, solid team like the Islanders. I feel like they're a good, solid defensive team.
But well coached. They could surprise people.
Yeah, they could surprise people. San Jose and Arizona could flip-flop, but I put Arizona ahead. St. Louis won the Cup 2 years ago. Binghamton, they lost Pietrangelo, but they got Cory Crawford, which I would say is a downgrade. But still,
I wouldn't say a huge downgrade. But still, a downgrade.
I would say Cory Crawford is still very good. Offense still very. I mean, but here's the thing. It's more. I feel like it's more of a downgrade than people think because he's the captain. He was the captain.
Yeah, the morale of the team. I could definitely see that. I'm a huge Krug fan, but
he was a big part of the team. But I do like that signing for Krug.
So
still got a great offense with Ryan O'Reilly, with Tarasenko, with all those guys.
Captain, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I do like St. Louis like normal, and then those I had the same as you, but the top two teams I flip-flopped. I had Colorado second.
Interesting.
And I had Vegas first. Now, Colorado, like you said, great team, great offense, great statistical defense, goalie.
You're right about the goalie.
Philip Grubauer is solid, but he ain't a big name, And I see the back end of this team producing offensively, but
Not
defensively, are they really going to be stout?
I can see where you're coming from. I definitely can see that, but
I think teams that put up a good team game and put up everything good is the teams that come out on top, and that's the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights, I think, are great. They got on the front, they got Max Pacioretty, they got William Karlsson, they got Riley Smith, Alex Tuck, all of them just coming together, like Paul Stastny, just a great solid team out. They got a 4-line rotation. They got great back end. They just traded Nate Schmidt,
and you got Revo on that fourth line as the enforcer.
Mm-hmm. But it's on the back end. You lost Nate Schmidt, it hurts, but it's a good replacement in Alex Pietrangelo, I would say.
A little bit.
It's a little bit of a good replacement. And just like that team, Shea Theodore's coming out to be very, very good. And then their goalie tandem is amazing. Just Robin Lehner and Marc-Andre Fleury is just a great goalie tandem. I'm not worried about any goalies there.
Yeah, Lehner no longer underrated.
No, he is not. He got paid.
He deserves it. I think we could see a possible trade with Marc-Andre Fleury this season because he still wants to start. I personally don't know if I could see,
if he goes back to the Penguins,
him a starter. I could see that as a possible trade destination. I see him also being possibly one of those players that I don't know, kind of on the Wild, some crazy team like that. But definitely the West, very similar, very different though than we had it in the North.
Yes.
So next division, Central Division. This is a mashup. So would you like me to go first? Or would you like to go first. You want me to keep going first?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a good rotation going here.
Sounds good. So the Central Division again. Now they're 8-team division, and Terrence, it's a weird division because you got a lot of normal Eastern Conference teams now with the Western Conference, and it's a mashup for sure. So 8th place. I think everyone's 8th place. Got to give it to the Detroit Red Wings. It's unfortunate, and they got a lot of pieces they're building, but it's really tough after a historically poor year last year.
I feel bad for Detroit fans. They had that. I forgot how long that their playoff streak was. It was around
22, 23 years, and it just fell off. But yeah, I think that's everyone's consensus for last place. But
there's a golden age. And then there's a dark age.
That's how it works.
Look, that's how it works with everything, and they're going to be back. And it's going to be a few years.
And so I think it's going to come a shock to a lot of people. I'm going to give 7 to the Nashville Predators. I think their offense is decent. Their defense is okay, but their goaltending is atrocious. Pekka was so good. Pekka I think, is going to get traded by the deadline. Don't know what team, but I don't think they stick with him this season. So with that, Nashville Predators. And number 6, This is a tough one. I'm going to give it to the Florida Panthers. It's tough. Are we going to see playoff Sergei Bobrovsky? Or are we going to see what we saw normal Bobrovsky, like when he was on Columbus? Or are we going to see, like Terrence, what we saw against the Islanders in the qualifiers where he was just atrocious, letting in 4 or 5 goals a game? And it's tough because their back end is not the best. They have great players like Sasha Barkov and Ekblad, but Huberdeau, I just personally don't see it for the Florida Panthers. And then next, I'm going to have to say 5th place. I'm going to want to give this one to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, they were in the Metropolitan Division. Now they're in the Central. I just don't see it with Columbus. There's rumors that Pierre-Luc Dubois wants out. And with that being said, I don't see their offense being as great. Their goaltending, I love Elvis Merzlikins. I think he's going to be a stud. But their defense was a little shaky at the end of last year. And is Merzlikins going to be what he was last year? That's the X factor for me. If he is, Columbus could go far. They could get into the playoffs. But if not, I just don't see it. 4th place, start of the playoffs of the Central. I love them. I'm giving it to Chicago. I love the team in Chicago. I love the young kids. Love Kirby Dach. Kane, Taves played great at the end of last season. I think this is the year Chicago gets back to where they wanted to. Again, big upset. They upset Edmonton. Then, yes, they went across the Knights, kind of fell apart defensively. But I think this is the year they bring it back together, and this is where they, even with the goaltending issues, I think this is the year for them to show the league and everyone that they're still around. 3rd place, and I got Tampa, Carolina, and Dallas left. I'm going to give it to Dallas. I think Dallas is good, but I think Dallas is really good. I just don't see it. I think this is a fall-off year for them. I think they definitely are still top 3, definitely top team in the league, but I think they fall to 3. Interesting enough, I got Carolina at 2, and I don't think many people would put them that high, Terrence, but I don't like Carolina as a team, as an Islander fan, but Carolina has a great team. Svechnikov is so filthy, and their defense, Dougie, Hamilton, they're so good. And goaltending, they've really come into their own fan base. Much as I like to hate them, gotta love them at the same time. They're fun to watch. I think they're going to be 2. And number 1, I think this is everyone's consensus here. Tampa Bay Lightning. Really, there's no reason that they shouldn't win this division.
Reigning Stanley Cup champions.
Yeah, with that. And even though Kucherov going to be out a couple, I think they said 2 months to maybe 3 months because he's going to get surgery, there's no reason they shouldn't win.
Stamkos Point.
Yeah, Stamkos Point, Hedman, Vasilevsky. There's Sergachev. There's
no flaw.
They have no flaws. 4 lines.
Except cap.
Yeah, outside of the cap, they're good for years to come. They're going to be top cup contender each year. Terrence, let me hear from you.
I got very different picks, I feel. Last, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. The Detroit Red Wings.
Tank Bowl.
They can they're, again, good future. Dylan Larkin, Anthony Mantha, Morris Sider, I feel is pretty going to come
I can see more trades coming out of them in this season.
But, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory why they are at the bottom.
Yeah.
Chicago is at 7. Chicago, I want you to tell me who's going to play in net.
To be honest with you, it's a big question.
Who's going to... Connor Delia and Malcolm Subban are their tandem.
I have faith in that.
No, they are not...
Listen, I'm not saying that they are good. I am not saying that they're
You have them making the playoffs.
I do. I have them 4th. And you know what? I think that the defense and the offense is carrying them this year.
Their defense isn't that good, though. Their defense is
Brent
not
Seabrook,
that good.
Old.
Brent Seabrook is not good.
They don't have a middle.
Is not good.
Listen.
They got a good offensive defenseman.
This is the year.
Like Adam Boquist. But they're just they are not good.
You'll see. I truthfully think that this is the year Chicago gets back to the playoffs.
This is, don't get me wrong.
They don't have a
Patrick Kane. Here's the thing. You forgot Jonathan Toews isn't playing. Jonathan Toews is out indefinitely with an illness. Now, Jonathan Toews, the captain, isn't there. They have Patrick Kane. They got Alex DeBrincat, Dominic Kubalik, who had a very underrated year last year. Corby Dach. I like him. But it's I do not see this team doing good with that goaltending, with that bad defense, with no Toews. It's just
We'll see. Maybe me putting them fourth was a stretch, but I'll tell you right now, they're not finishing bottom two.
they are finishing.
No, they
two.
will not.
Yes, sir.
We'll
Because
see.
the other teams are way better.
Uh-huh.
Like Florida. Florida's my 6. Now, this isn't much more than what you did. You put them at 7. I put them at 6. It's not really a big deal. I just feel like unless Bobrovsky turns back to normal Bobrovsky, but what I saw from last year,
It's all heading downhill.
it's all, I don't like it. They got a good offense, Huberdeau, Barkov, but from what I saw, I mean, I was flip-flopping between Florida and my next team, but the top 4 was pretty much consensus for me. But the 5th is Nashville. As Nashville is, I feel like they can, UC Soros is very good. He's a very good goaltender. I mean, Pekka Rinne, he wasn't the starter in the playoffs. It was UC Soros.
Well, they showed me in the playoffs that against Arizona, they could not do anything.
I know.
They could not
their
put up
offense,
goals.
their defense just like totally shut
Their
down.
whole team shut down. Their defense didn't show up, and their offense could not put up more than 3 goals.
That's why I don't have them in the playoffs. But I feel like their talent, their surface talent, like
Definitely
and what
possible.
We've seen them, like I feel like they can still do something. Roman Yossi's a stud.
It's another team that I see a lot of trades
Philip
coming out of,
Forsberg.
whether
Yeah.
it be
I
Ryan
feel
Ellis or whether it be Pekka
I think the
Rinne.
back end is still amazing.
It's still good, but
And then that
it's
front,
aging very quickly.
yes, and I think they're just out of the playoffs. And my 4th is the Columbus Blue Jackets. And again, I like my teams that are good teams. It's like full on.
John Tortorella coach team's always been good.
Yeah, so
Players
I
coach.
feel like they are going to get in as you got the goalie Elvis Merzlikins and their tandem Korpisalo. I mean, both of them played outstanding. Elvis Merzlikins, of course, the starter, and I feel like he's just going to continue this tear.
So are you worried about possibly Pierre-Luc Dubois not... Where do you think... You have them finishing 4th. If Pierre-Luc Dubois gets traded, do you still have them finishing 4th?
He is not getting traded.
You don't think so?
I do not think he's getting traded.
Even if he didn't show up and he held out, because as of right now, that's what it's looking like.
He's not going to hold out. He just signed a contract.
I know
He's
he
not
just signed
allowed to.
He doesn't have to technically show up, though.
I mean, if he doesn't show up,
he
then
wants to
why would a team want to get him?
Listen,
He's joining the team, okay?
if he wants to trade that bad, he'll get that trade.
But why did he sign the deal then?
Because it was before he wanted the trade. Stuff happened after that he's just not a fan of. He's not a
If
fan of what's going on
Pierre-Luc
there.
Dubois is not there,
It's tough as an RFA right now to walk anywhere.
If Pierre-Luc Dubois is not there, let's say like this crazy scenario where he's not there, to be honest, I would still have them making the playoffs because of John Tortorella and their feistiness. Their team is feisty. They get a good back end. They got a decent offense, and I mean, like their goalie. I mean, again,
Their
it's
back
tough.
end's got to carry them.
It's tough, but because Pierre-Luc Dubois got signed, I'm going to assume that he is going to be playing for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Fair enough.
So I got them at 4th. I feel like they're back in with Seth Jones, with Gavrikov, who really stepped up, with a couple, just like very solid D-men there. I know they lost Ryan Murray, but still very solid young D-core. And then offense, they got Cam Atkinson, Gustav Nyquist. They got, of course, Pierre-Luc Dubois. And it's just a solid team there, coached by Tortorella, and I feel like they're just going to continue. And they surprised a lot of people in the playoffs.
I think they could do it again.
They beat Toronto, and they put up a good fight against Tampa. They did, and I feel like
So to be determined for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
to be determined. They are a wild card team, but I do have them squeaking in past all the other teams. I got 3rd, Carolina. Carolina, again, very good team. Sechnikov, Aho, just like defensively, Slavin, Brady Shea, Brett Pesce, goaltenders is the issue. Peter Mrazek is, he can be hot and cold. Same thing with James Reimer behind them.
I think in a season like this, short and 56-game season, where there's really no big extended breaks, like the weird week off that all the teams get, then the holiday breaks, they're not getting any of that this year. It's a straight 56-game season because of the COVID and all the issues going on.
But I just feel
I think that there's no time for him to cool down. I think if he gets hot, he stays hot.
I know, but it's a matter of is he gonna. I feel like goaltending is a big issue for Carolina. They do play the good team game. They do play the good clamp game, which then it shouldn't really matter how the goalies play. But still, goaltending is an issue for this team. Next, I got Dallas. Just like I feel like it's pretty obvious as Dallas is like. I mean, this is pretty self-explanatory. Bishop, Hudobin, great tandem.
Yeah, they're
just amazing.
Again.
Defense, very good defensive team. As you got Miro Heiskanen, who's turning out to be a Norris caliber defenseman. You got on the front end Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, no, the whole thing.
Alex Radulov, that's first
again.
line.
They were champions of the West last year for a reason. So
they play a very good defensive scheme.
And now
you got Miro Heiskanen on the back end leading that defense, and it's just like. It's really, I'm going to be interested to see how they do.
For sure. And it's interesting because, Stanley Cup competitors last year, you got your number one team.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they are just like, my number one team is pretty obvious.
Consensus
that it
here.
is the Detroit Red Wings. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning. They are just so good. I mean, what else do I have to say?
And
just reigning Stanley Cup champions. There's no reason to put them any lower than one.
It's one, and this is a situation where it's very cool how the divisions align because the Stars and the Lightning should be the top two teams in that division as of right now, and those are the two teams in the Cup final last year, and they had a best of 7 series, finished it in 6 with Tampa going 4-2. But guess what? They get to see each other 8 times this year.
Yes, it's going to be very nice to see.
You're going to get that brand new series renewed again, so it should be very interesting to see how that division plays out.
And then now the final division, I feel like...
The most hectic division, I think.
Yeah,
best division in the NHL. And here, what was the Metropolitan Division, now the East Division. I assume you want me going first on this one?
Let's go.
Of course you do. So, I'm going to try and keep my bias out of this as an Islander fan. But here we go. Again, 8-team division. Got a lot of big rivalries in here, crosstown rivalries. So, it should be interesting. I'm going to go New Jersey Devils. Again, I think that's a consensus. Devils really not improving. Struggles all around. 7th. This is where it gets interesting because it's tough because Buffalo just picked up Taylor Hall. Jack Eichel looks to be a stud this year, as always.
Jack Eichel's angry. He's going to do something.
Oh, I know. So, I think Buffalo could shock a lot of people. But I'm going to give Buffalo 7th, and it is what it is. Going to go into 6th, and this I know where you're going to come at me, and it's going to be a controversy. I have the Pittsburgh Penguins finishing in 6th. I think the Penguins are falling off. I think Crosby's still good, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see it anymore. Penguins, I think, dynasty, all that crap, it's over. They're going to need to rebuild officially. 5th, going to give it to the New York Rangers. I see them just missing the playoffs, and I don't see it, but I see them missing it by very few points. I think they surprised a lot of people this year. I think Alex Lafreniere is going to have a very good rookie year. I actually think he's going to win the Calder Trophy. And Igor on the back end and all your young guys like Adam Fox, Kakko, Lafreniere. And then you got, Panarin and Zibanejad. Tough to root against them. Again, it should be interesting with the cross-town rivalry between the Islanders and Rangers playing each other 8 games this year. Very interesting. Heart attack season as NHL fans at this point, but as an Islander fan. But I'm going to have them at 5. Now my 4. Right now, my top 4, I've got 4 teams left. It's Boston, the Islanders, Philly, and Washington. I got Washington finishing 4th. I think Washington is going to struggle a lot this year. Again, they looked atrocious against the Islanders. Terrence, you can agree with that, correct? Very bad against the Islanders, losing the series 4-1 in the first round this past year. It's tough. I think they'll squeak in, but with Ilya Samsonov as their only real goaltender, I don't see Craig Anderson being the guy. And with a season like it is where there's no long breaks, and unless you're going to play like the Leafs where you're going to have Freddie Anderson playing 90% of the games, it's very tough, and you can only really do that when you've got a strong team in front of you, and the Caps did not show that last year, at least show it enough for me to believe that they are going to be able to ride Samsonov. I think they're going to squeak into the playoffs ahead of the Rangers, 4th seed. 3rd seed, I'm going to give it to the Bruins. I don't have the Bruins higher on this list for one reason. With the injuries, with the departures of Chara and Krug on the back end, and they have a very good young defense, but I don't see them being. So let me rephrase that. They have a very good offensive defensive core. They don't have that defensive core in Chara, where Krug could do both. It's going to be very interesting, and who knows if Rask holds out again, because Rask, he didn't play. He came for the first 2 games and left the bubble because of his family and health issues. He might do it again. No, now there's more travel and there's no bubble. I would not be shocked if he holds out and chooses to opt out of the regular season for the NHL. And here, Pastrnak out 2 months with surgery. It should be very interesting to see how the Bruins play out. I think they're going to be a very good team, top team, but I think because of those departures, they finished 3rd. And I think that these top 3 teams are going to be separated by maybe 8 points, if that. It's going to be very tight, again, with all of the 8-game series, I'll call them, in the divisions. Islanders at 2. My bias keeps me from saying they're going to be 1, but as an Islander fan, Barzell, big signing today, Terrence. Gotta love it. We'll get into that after this. But with Barzell coming back, I mean, the Islanders don't lose anything. The Islanders don't really gain anything huge, except for this piece that I think a lot of people are missing. The white whale that they like to call them. We've been waiting years, Terrence. Ilya Sorokin. It's about time. The Islanders have that lethal goalie tandem that they did when Leonard and Greiss were here a couple years. I see Sorokin actually becoming the starter this year, and Varlamov maybe getting traded or leaving at the end of the year. Sorokin is going to become the starter. He's going to emerge as a top goalie in the league this year in his rookie season. And I think we're going to see breakout years from Anthony Beauvillier. I think he's going to put up 50 points in the 56-game regular season. I think Brock Nelson going to hit I think a bunch of guys are going to hit the 20-goal plateau. I see them being a second-place team. They didn't really lose. If anything, they gained in Sorokin, and they gained in the young talents, such as Kiefer Bellows, Wahlstrom. It should be interesting to see. First place, Philadelphia Flyers. Even though the Islanders ousted them in 7, in my opinion, should not have taken 7 games. They should have been done in Game 5. Islanders came out of that series 4-3, when it should have been 4-1. We let them back in, but guess what? Philly's a resilient team. Carter Hart is one of the, I think, a top 5 goalie in this league. Love the kid. As much as I hate Philly, as much as I hate the Flyers, gotta give it to the Philadelphia organization. I think they're going to be great this year. Ivan Provorov is a stud, simple as that. Their offense is great. Couturier, JVR, Giroux, Voracek. I think this is the year for Philly. I think this is the year that they make it to the Eastern Conference Final and possibly far. I have them going very far. So, Terrence.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Let me hear what you have to say.
I enjoyed listening to that. That was interesting. I love the ego boost. Last place. It's my turn. Last place I got New Jersey.
Oh, God.
New Jersey, I feel like they're not that bad. It's like...
They're not the Red Wings, but they're not...
They got Jack Hughes, who had a disappointing first year.
Nico Hischier, who's still very under...
who's still very good. I mean, Mackenzie Blackwood, who I think is very underrated goaltender.
He'll be good this year.
Mm-hmm. Their defense is just like ew.
That Subban contract, they got it.
They just signed... That's Subban contract.
They got to get it out of that.
Subban has not been good, but their defense is yikes. Their offense is decent. I mean, like we said, Hischier, Hughes, just like good young pieces in there. But I just, again, don't feel like it's going to go far. Buffalo is a man on a mission, but they're 7. It's like Buffalo has just got Taylor Hall in that 1-year deal. It's interesting that they signed him to a 1-year deal. I can see it. I think Hall just wants to prove himself. And then, it's giving maybe Buffalo, a little edge on a couple other teams. But these new divisions just kill it.
Well, you got to remember, the playoffs, Hall didn't perform the top. So, if he performs well, he could ask for that money, but he can't. So, he had to take this deal.
So, he took the deal. They got Eric Stahl, who's been pretty good. I mean, Victor Olofsson.
Lethal offense this year.
Yeah, it's going to be very nice it's going to be a nice offense. Goaltending issues with Linus Ullmark and Carter Hutton.
There could be some surprises.
Defensive issues. I mean,
is Rasmus Dahlin going to be that guy?
I feel like Dahlin's going to do good. Risto is not that good. I mean, Jacob McCabe is not the best, but I mean...
Average at best.
I would say In a regular division, they're going to be average. In this one, they're bottom 2.
Yeah, it's a stacked division. It's very hard to put them up there.
Yeah. I got next one, the New York Rangers. Now, they could be a wild card. They could be a wild card team as their offense is lethal. Just got Alexis Lafreniere with the first pick in the draft. They got Capo Caco. I feel like it's going to turn it around. Mika Zibanejad.
Arguably the best duo, Panarin and Zibanejad.
Yeah, arguably one of them. I mean, Draisaitl and McDavid, but
top. I'm going to say at least top 5. It could be top 3.
That's just amazing. They got some other good young talent like Adam Fox, like Tony DeAngelo, Shesterkin, youngest team in the league, and they're
very good
on cylinders.
I hate to say that.
Philip Hedl, they still got Chris Kreider on the team.
Yeah, they've really got a good, solid team. It should be interesting to see.
Yeah. My one issue with them is not the goaltending. It's not the forwards. It's the defense. Now, their defense is good offensively, like I said, with Colorado, but defensively, they do not know how to play in their own end. And how much longer can you put a young goalie like Shesterkin and make him carry all these saves on their back? I feel like a lot of shots are going to be put on Shesterkin. And I feel like he is very, very good, and I feel like they could surprise me and some people, but I feel like Shesterkin can't carry a defense.
And it's also a very different position that the Rangers were in last year when he came in, and this year. Because last year he came in they were.
I feel like
they weren't tanking, but they were horrible. Then they came in and almost they got swept 3-0 by the Hurricanes. But again, Igor didn't play, cracked rib, all that crap. But
don't go into another car accident.
Yeah, just don't drive, period. But, I think the Rangers will be better than last year. I agree with you, though. I think they missed it by a little bit.
I think that I think all this is going to be close between these guys. I feel like
top 6 is going to be very tight.
Even though we're 6, they don't miss the playoffs by a lot. I just feel like there's teams that are better ahead of them.
For sure.
Going into about the Rangers can surprise me. I'm pretty sure that they can. But the Penguins are my 5th.
Okay.
Now, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins. I do not like to go against the Penguins, but what they showed me in the playoffs, what they showed me in other games, it's just like the Penguins are not what they used to be. They got Crosby, of course. They got Malkin. They got Crosby, Malkin. They got we just got... Okay, we'll get into that in a little bit. We just got some more info on the New Jersey Devils, which we'll keep putting them last. But but we're going to... okay, so the island... So we got the Penguins. So they got Malkin, they got Crosby. They got... on the defense, they got John Marino, who they just signed to an extension.
Yep, 6 years.
He's a pretty young guy, pretty good guy.
He's got to prove himself, though.
Chris Letang, who's injury prone. Goalies, Jari and DeSmith, I feel like are decent. I feel like the Penguins are the Penguins. They're not gonna give you a stinker.
They're not gonna give you a stinker, but I don't see how you can give. I don't see how you think that they can give you a star-studded season. I don't see that. I just don't see it.
I'm not giving them a star-studded season. They're missing the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. I agree. I'm agreeing with you.
But I feel like Crosby and Malkin can just take a team anyways to almost playoff contention.
Are we getting Crosby of last year? We're getting Crosby of years ago because there's a big difference in that one too.
Crosby still had a pretty good year last year.
Oh no, but you've a good year for him, and now you look back 5 years ago. 100 points.
That is age with him.
That's what I'm saying. It's very interesting to see.
I feel like though the Penguins are going to be contenders.
I think
they could easily make it in.
I think an X factor for that team is Jake Gensel. Young guys. Can the young offense really produce?
Okay. Now you could see my bias not showing here. I got Islanders at 4. Now, again, good team. Lucas is staring at me.
I'm just the bigger Islander fan.
Yeah. I got the Islanders at 4. I think as much as I love the Islanders, it's hard to go against the teams ahead of them. I feel that the Islanders aren't the best regular season team. I feel like once it hits the playoffs, it's completely different, and I feel like the Islanders' game is better.
Because Barry Trotz is a playoff coach.
But I feel like during the regular season, the Islanders are going to struggle to even make the playoffs.
But you agree they squeak in.
I agree.
I just don't see Barry Trotz as a playoff coach. I don't see Barry Trotz letting them miss the playoffs.
I know.
Because they sputter a little bit, he's back.
Here's the thing. They didn't make any additions. If anything, besides Sorokin, I would say. If anything, we had more subtractions than additions. As Tays left, Johnny Boychuk left. Just like,
I mean, in all honesty, outside of Tays, Brassard and Boychuk leaving are not really key pieces. Because right there, Wallstrom fits in for Brassard and vice versa. Dobson for Boychuk.
But I would have loved to see them get more additions. The fact that we stayed pat, it kind of scares me a little bit because other teams made some additions, like the teams above, and some subscriptions, or we're just better. But I got the Islanders at 4. I feel like they're still going to be good. I feel like
I could see it happening, but I'm going to keep my prediction at 2.
Number 3, I got the Capitals, or the Crapitals. Now we got Ovi. Greatest goal scorer of all time.
Yeah, you don't gotta tell me.
Don't talk to me about it.
I agree.
He is.
I agree.
I don't care about Gretzky and his goal stats. He's the best goal scorer of all time in an era where goal scoring comes less than back in the day. He's the best goal scorer of all time, and he's going to continue his.
He'll break Gretzky's record at one point.
I hope he will.
I do too.
But Backstrom, like that Oshie, that offense is lethal. That we all know and love. John Carlson on the back end. Like again, my issue is
fantasy hockey update.
Yes. So again, my issue is the goaltending, just like yours. Is Samsonov going to come out? Is their defense going to come out? They had laid a stinker against the Islanders.
So do we see the Capitals in the playoffs, or do we see a new team this year of years past?
I think Samsonov is going to be good.
You think?
Okay. I think Samsonov, just like the 2 other Russian goalies in this division, is going to be good. And I feel like with Sorokin, these were the top 3 goalie prospects. They were the Samsonov, Shesterkin, and Sorokin. They're all in the NHL now. I feel like they're all going to be studs.
For sure.
And I got the Islanders ahead of the Capitals. But again, all this is going to be close. Second, I got Boston. Now, I know what you're saying. Boston lost a lot. Boston lost their captain. Boston lost Krug. Boston might not have Tuukka, but I still think he's going to play. I'm going to assume he's playing. I
think losing Pastrnak, because you have to remember this is a 5-month season, and now losing him for half the season.
Yeah, losing Pastrnak, but it's the Boston Bruins. I hate Boston. I hate them. I hate the Bruins.
As do all New Yorkers.
But it's just you can't go against them. You can't. They're just.
Hey, maybe they'll pull a Patriots. They just suck this year.
Even before Pastrnak was even on the team, they were making the playoffs with just Marchand and Bergeron. Yeah. And I'm gonna assume Tuukka's playing.
Hey, I got him at 3. Yeah. I agree with you. They're gonna be good.
I'm gonna assume Tuukka's playing. They're gonna win every game against the Islanders, like always, because they always beat the Islanders. Because that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see with the Bruins and how all that pans out.
The Boston is a wild card for me because I feel like they could be top. I mean, I still got them at 2. I don't think they're moving out of the playoffs. I just think it's going to be interesting.
They could fall to 3 or 4 depending on injuries or who leaves, but definitely a playoff team.
I think a big player for them is like some back end, like a Brandon Carlo who could maybe step up. McAvoy, who I think is going to be a top guy. I mean,
I like him.
I feel like their team is.
Yeah, they got a lot of young talent, and they got that just like the Islanders. They got that grit line, LaShawn Corralian on the 4th line. So it'll be interesting to see.
And then first, I got just like you, the Philadelphia Flyers. Now they're just a very, very good team, and I don't want to go just how hot they were last year, and then how they came back against the Islanders and almost won. It's very interesting. Like I love that team. Like that team, as much as I hate them, I love them at the same time. Just so fun to watch.
They're fun to watch for sure. Just like they're in their division.
They got Giroux, Voracek, just like Couturier, who's like very underrated. Couturier, very underrated
for sure.
Oscar Lindblom, they're gonna ride his back
again. Yeah,
I mean defense: Shane Gostisbehere, Ivan Provorov, and Carter Hart. I mean.
It's tough to root against them this year, especially after how they finished last year. I think they're coming back for a little bit of vengeance, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
it'll be a good team for sure.
So those are the predictions. We just got in that Cory Crawford just retired. He just was on the Devils. We weren't expecting him. He was injured, so I wasn't expecting him.
He had vertigo. He had injuries. It's tough for him.
So he just retired. So, I mean, relief, some cap relief for the Devils, I mean. But I still got them.
Yeah, he's, again, great career with the Blackhawks. Just a few cups. Probably one of the best dynasties in the past few decades that... I think we can call him a dynasty at this point. Mm-hmm. Basically making the playoffs 5 years, making the cup final almost 5 years straight.
Yeah, now it's just sad to see him retire like that. I mean, he battled with injuries his whole career, and it's just like we wish him a very healthy recovery, and we wish him a good retirement. Now,
on some exciting news.
We're gonna quickly talk about this. I mean, like,
we're gonna briefly touch over because I'm sure that you guys will be seeing a lot of this. But
Matt Barzell, Mr. Flow,
he's back.
He's back. He just signed a 3-year contract, $21 million with the New York Islanders, $7 million AAV for you guys. Now, Lucas, what do you think about that? I mean, I'm excited.
So for me, when I first saw the term, as I know you did too, bugged out a little bit because I know that the 2 years of bridge deal meaning he's an RFA after, and 4 years meaning he's a UFA. But when I saw that Lamoriello was able to get that RFA tag at the end of this contract, meaning, guess what?
He's got arbitration rights, and he has to be offer sheeted for him.
Yeah, so he's we're either gonna get. We're not even gonna look 3 years down the road, but it matters. It matters when we hit there. But he's an RFA at the end of this contract. We got him 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's in a win now mode. And guess what? $7 million a year. It is not $7 million per year because it's 3, 7, 10. Mm-hmm. No, it's 4, 7, 10 over the 3 years in that order. But it should be good.
Yeah,
it's really good for the Islanders.
I feel like it's really good for the Islanders. I feel like this deal is the Islanders' cup window.
For sure.
I feel like it's a 3-year cup window for the New York Islanders, and they're going to be going for it.
Well, yeah, because you got if you think about it,
people...
Lee, Nelson, Pajot, Bailey, they're all in the prime, and they're all signed between 4 more years and 6 more years.
They're getting a little bit old, like they're getting into the 30s, so this is why I'm saying like...
This is the cup window.
This 3-year window that Barzell signed for...
Defense is in the prime, so is your goaltending.
Is the cup window. This is the cup window. I feel like after these 3 years with Barzell, you are going to have to rehaul a little bit.
It will definitely be a rehaul, and I'll briefly touch on this. I could foresee this is a cup window, but for the Islanders and cap space being an issue and having a lot of big pieces, contracts up at the end of the season, whether it be Sorokin, Beauvillier, Pelech, I think it's Zekas. Yeah. I could see someone like Bailey getting traded for the cap space. I could see stuff like that happening and bringing in bigger pieces, but for the time being and this contract, I love it. He wanted to be an Islander. They were working on a 6-year deal, correct? But Lamoriello could just not move that cap space, considering everything with Boychuk going on LTIR, having to re-sign Martin and Green, which is another thing. The Matt Martin contract. Were you shocked with that?
I was very excited. I mean, I was shocked.
Shocked with the term, I think you could say.
The term was very nice, though. I do like the term with the money. I mean, he's a forever Islander. I mean, the contract doesn't even hurt us.
It's 1.5 for 4, and he took a pay cut.
Good. Yeah, so
I can't complain.
Nice.
You keep that fourth line together, best fourth line in the league. So,
but I mean, like I said before, you got Anders Lee turning 30, Brock Nelson almost 30, 29, Eberle 30, Josh Bailey 31.
Yeah, this is the cup window.
Pajot is 28. I mean, like, all these guys
we got them all
in their prime.
And they're all signed until about 34, 35 years old.
Cal Clutterbuck's 33.
Yeah, so at the end...
Zekas is almost 30 at 29.
Yeah, so at the end of this, it's a for sure
Matt Martin is 30.
Expect Lamoriello to make big additions, though, in this next year's offseason. But for now...
Matt Martin is 30. I mean, like, you have your core right now. Just like, in this 3-year window, you need a cup win. I think. Because it's like... That's what you need to go for. I mean, on the defense as well, like, Nick Leddy is 29.
He's fun.
Nick Leddy's 29. Scott Mayfield, 28.
The nice thing is this. The defense is pretty young. The defense, the offense is going to start to...
Varlamov 32.
We are a very young team, but 25. You do have your older players in there. The defense is very young, for sure.
Yeah, I think the defense is very young.
I love it.
But, like, again, the offensive core is mainly made up of old... not really old.
The future...
Guys in their prime.
That's the biggest thing. As we're talking about the Barzell contract now, fantastic for the Islanders. This is the cup window for the 3 years.
The 3 years is the cup window because Matt Barzell was asking for 10. Now this kid took a 7 mil. He's making as much as Anders Lee.
Yeah, he's taking the pay cut. He wants to stay here.
He wants to win a cup. And I feel like that's what Lamoriello had involved with him. And I feel like this 3-year window, this takes Lee to 33. This takes Brock to 32. This takes Eberle to 33.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
It takes Pajot to 31. I mean, by the end of this window, by the time we have to pay Barzell again, we're going to have to let go because he's going to want to run 10.
Yeah,
by the time that,
I think at that point though we'll be able to pay that because I don't think Josh Bailey is going to finish his contract with the Islanders, in my opinion. I also guys who should be traded this year. Mm-hmm. Guys like Leo Komarov, Kunako, like guys like that will not be here come that time. Mm-hmm. But again, future's now, and you got a lot of young talent in. I wish Del Cole would do something, but I think I truthfully think if he gets into this lineup this year, he is going to do something. I think giving another chance. He wants to be an Islander. Again, Bellows, Wallstrom, Soderstrom, Sorokin, and then you still got Pulock, Dobson. I think Bodie Wild, right? Mm-hmm. It's an exciting time to be an Islander fan, and especially today, getting to wake up this morning, got in my car after my soccer practice, and I saw Matt Barzell agrees to terms on a 3-year contract. Could not be happier.
Yeah, we have a little bit over $50 million tied up in 9 players.
It's not that bad.
That is not that bad.
Not at all.
2 defensemen.
When you look at the Leafs.
Yeah, 2 defensemen and 6 and 7 forwards.
Yeah, I can't complain with that.
One of them being Andrew Ladd. Now,
yeah, that's another player. But again, like I said, guys like that, Hickey, guys that don't play will go. And we're going to then have probably, I'm going to be honest, it could be close to $20 million in cap space if you get rid of all those guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because they got big, crappy contracts.
But this is our 3-year window. The Barzell contract made it, I feel, very clear what our cup window is. And
yeah,
after this, I feel like it's either a rebuild or a rehaul.
I think it's a rehaul because if you really look at the Islanders team, saying everybody stays in terms of the young talent, let's say Barzell and Beauvillier re-sign long-term. Expose up at the end of this year. I think he's going to want a long-term.
But here's the thing, like...
It's...
Your core for the rest, I would say, is you have Pulock, you have Pelech, you have Barzell, you have Beauvillier, you have Sorokin, you have Dobson.
Wallstrom. I think Wallstrom. I think he's a part of that.
I know, but Wallstrom's more unknown.
Okay, I guess you could say the same with Bellows and
you can say the same
even
with
Del Cole.
Yeah, you could say the same with Bodie Wild too. But I'm talking about players that we know are going to be a part of the future.
Yeah.
Now Dobson, I feel like from the games that we saw, I know he can.
Dobson can play.
He can play
because you have to remember he looked very uncomfortable, but then he came into his own.
I'm talking about young, good guys so you got Pulock, you got Pelech, you got Sorokin. And then on the offense, you have only really Beauvillier and Barzell. Now, it's going to be tough because the team's getting older by the minute, and this is our definite cup window. I feel like this is a rebuild after 3 years. I feel like it is if we don't win a cup.
I don't think it's 3 years. I think the cup window is 3 years. I think if you want to talk about a rebuild, I'm going to say 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. I think the cup, that's too far. I say we don't get into that. Mm-hmm. I think cup window, 3 years. Barzell contract's good. And guess what? It's all that matters.
Yeah, it's all that matters. So I'm ready to
big time to be an Islander fan.
Let's go. Let's go Islanders. So I think that's the end of this podcast today. That
wraps it up. So, guys, appreciate you watching. Terrence, anything you want to say?
Yeah, guys, thank you for watching. If you have any comments or anything
you want us to go over for next
anything
time,
you want
please.
to go over, just put in the comments. I mean, we'll talk about anything, really. I mean, whatever you guys want, we'll talk about it. And, I mean, if you want to share your predictions with us, put it in the comments down below, and we'll look them over, and we'll maybe add you in the next in the next video, in the next podcast.
So I do have one last thing because you were talking about predictions, and then we'll cap it. Terrence, did you give me a Stanley Cup final and then winner?
An early Stanley
Let me
Cup
hear it.
final
We're on
winner.
predictions. I want to hear it.
Oh, you put me on the spot like that, really?
I mean, I know you're going to ask me the same thing in a second.
You know
so
what?
Let me hear
Because, okay, you know what? A Stanley Cup final prediction.
And remember, it's the Central and the
Islanders,
East.
Toronto.
I would love that. I really would.
No,
but
that's
no.
not going to happen.
So remember, it's the Central
that.
Central and the East on one side.
Yeah,
and
then the North and the
North
West.
and the West on the other.
I got that. So, are we assuming that people coming back from injury are back from injury?
Yes.
Okay. Oh shit.
Would you like me to go first? I could give it to you.
It's I think my team, they're gonna make the playoffs. They're gonna make it to the Stanley Cup. It's gonna be the Boston Bruins versus the Vegas Golden Knights.
Okay, yeah, that's
And
an
my
interesting
winner
one.
is going to be the Vegas Golden Knights.
I'm sorry, I gotta go and disagree with you on that one. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, Colorado, this is your year. Devontae's, wish you were here, but you know what? I think this is your year. I think you're going to go to the Cup and you're going to win the Cup. But I think in order to win the Cup, you're gonna have to get past. I think you're gonna say this for me. I think this is Philly's year too. Everyone predicted it. Everyone was saying going into this year, like going into last year, it was either going to be Tampa or Philly coming out of the East, and going to be Colorado or Vegas coming out of the West, outside of the surprise teams. I think it's going to stay the same. I think it's going to be Colorado, the Golden Knights, Philly, and Tampa as the top four contenders for the Cup. I think that's what it's going to come out to be. Yeah. But I've got Philly versus Colorado. Colorado taking it. I think this is their year.
I think Vegas.
They have a big Cup window too because they got all young guys.
I think Vegas. Actually, no, not really. Nathan McKinnon's contract's coming up in 2 years.
Outside of McKinnon, you got to look at their team. A lot of guys just signed new big deals.
I know, but they wouldn't have enough money for Nate Mack.
I mean, that's right now. You got to remember a lot.
I know.
Look at Lamorello. He found a way to make this magic happen with Barzell, which should not have happened.
But a lot of things went their way. Retirements, not retirement, but LTIR.
We'll see.
With Boychuk.
That's years down the road.
Why I asked for if we're assuming injury players come back and stay healthy.
Oh, sure, for sure. I
think Boston
would not, for sure, but I don't agree with it either way, but I think Boston's a better chance.
I think Boston's just a great team. I know they lost Krug, but they can last without Krug.
Oh no, because you have that is a good
Chara was I know that he was the captain, but he's more of a liability than
I still thought he was a big piece, but
I mean, it's tough to see. This is way too early to see.
Again, way too early predictions for a reason, but that's interesting picks.
And we're gonna see how our predictions go for the end of the season.
Yeah, we'll track them throughout the season for you guys, but
yeah, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We hope you tune into the next one. And if you have any questions or if you want comments,
leave them down below.
Want to share your predictions? We'll look at them. We might want to share them in the next podcast. Who knows? We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So okay. I appreciate you guys listening to Layin Body Podcast, and
appreciate you guys tuning in. Sayonara.